My 12-year-old grandson pressed a folded piece of paper into my hand at his birthday party, looked me dead in the eye, said nothing. When I opened it later, all it said was, "Check storage unit 247. Don't tell Mom." I went the next morning, and what I found inside, I'm still shaking. My name's Linda. I'm 68 years old. I've raised 3 kids, buried a husband, survived cancer twice, and thought I'd seen everything life could throw at me. I was wrong, because what my grandson Tommy hid in that storage unit wasn't just things. It was a secret he'd been keeping for 9 months, a secret that explained everything I'd been too blind to see. The bruises, the silence, the way he flinched when his mother raised her voice. But here's the part that broke me. He didn't hide it to protect himself. He hid it to protect me. This is the story of Storage Unit 247, and why some secrets are kept by the bravest people you'll ever meet. Tommy's 12th birthday party, June 14th. My daughter Rebecca's house, the one she got in the divorce 3 years ago. The one that always feels a little too quiet, a little too controlled. 20 kids running around the backyard, pizza boxes stacked on the kitchen counter, a Spider-Man cake, his favorite since he was 4 years old, Tommy smiling that smile he's perfected over the past year, the one that doesn't quite reach his eyes anymore. I'd noticed things changing, small things at first. The way he started wearing long sleeves even when it was 80 degrees outside, how he'd begun doing that thing where he made himself smaller, hunched shoulders, quiet voice, always apologizing for taking up space. His laugh used to fill entire rooms. Now it was barely a whisper. When I asked Rebecca about it last Christmas, she waved it off, said he was just going through a phase. Puberty, middle school politics, the usual 12-year-old stuff. Normal. But I'm a grandmother. I've raised 3 kids of my own. I know the difference between normal growing pains and something is fundamentally wrong. I watched him that day at the party. Really watched him. The way his eyes darted to the kitchen whenever Rebecca's voice got sharp, the way he positioned himself near exits, the way he kept his back to walls. These weren't the behaviors of a moody preteen. These were survival tactics. The party was winding down around 4 p.m., parents collecting their kids, Rebecca in the kitchen with the other moms, laughing about something on someone's phone. I was in the living room helping Tommy collect wrapping paper and ribbon when he suddenly grabbed my wrist. Not hard, but urgent. He pressed something into my palm. A piece of paper. Folded tight. Folded so many times it was barely bigger than a postage stamp. His eyes locked on mine, and I saw something there I'd never seen in my grandson's face before. Raw, unfiltered fear. "Don't open it here," he whispered, his voice barely audible over the noise of the remaining kids. "And don't tell Mom. Promise me, Grandma, you have to promise." His hand was shaking. "Tommy, what?" "Promise." I looked into those eyes. 12 years old. And I saw someone who'd aged decades in months. "I promise, baby." He hugged me then. Tight. Tighter than he'd hugged me in years. And he whispered against my shoulder, "I love you, Grandma. Remember that." Then he pulled away and went back to being the birthday boy, smiling, thanking people for coming, playing his part. But I stood there with that tiny folded paper burning a hole in my palm. 20 minutes later, after hugging Rebecca goodbye and making small talk about next week's lunch plans, I sat in my car in her driveway. Engine off, hands shaking, I unfolded that note. Blue pen. His handwriting, the messy scrawl of a 12-year-old boy who was always in too much of a hurry to write neatly. Check storage unit 247. Cornerstone storage unit 247. Cornerstone storage on Mill Street. Konisarot Vortier. Don't tell Mom. Please. I love you. Underneath, he'd drawn a small heart, the kind he used to draw on Mother's Day cards when he was little. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely refold the paper. I didn't sleep that night. I laid in bed staring at my ceiling, that note on my nightstand, and 1,000 scenarios running through my mind like a horror movie on repeat. Drugs. That was my first thought. Someone had gotten Tommy involved with drugs. He was hiding evidence. Or stashes. Or God knows what. Then my mind went darker. Sexual abuse. Was someone hurting him? Had he collected proof? Was that storage unit filled with evidence of something unspeakable? Or maybe he'd witnessed something. A crime. Something at school. Something involving Rebecca's boyfriend, Derek. I'd only met the man twice. Rebecca had been dating him for about 8 months. He'd moved in with them 3 months ago, around March. Seemed nice enough on the surface. Tall, well-dressed, good job in finance or real estate or something. Always had a firm handshake and called me ma'am. But something about him felt wrong. I couldn't put my finger on it. Maybe it was the way his smile never quite reached his eyes, or how he positioned himself between Rebecca and other people, or the way Tommy went silent whenever Derek entered a room. I'd mentioned it to my friend Margaret at church. She said I was being overprotective, that Rebecca deserved to be happy after her divorce, that I needed to let her live her life, so I backed off. But now, lying in the dark at 2 a.m., staring at that ceiling, I wondered, what had I missed? What had I been too polite, too respectful, too not wanting to interfere to see? At 3 a.m., I got up and reread the note for the 100th time. Don't tell Mom. Why? Why couldn't I tell Rebecca? She was his mother. If something was wrong, she needed to know, unless she already knew, or unless she was part of the problem. That thought made me nauseous. At 5 a.m., I made coffee, sat at my kitchen table, watched the sun come up, and at 7 a.m. I grabbed my keys and drove to Mill Street, Cornerstone Storage, a squat concrete building on the edge of town that I'd driven past 100 times and never really noticed. The kind of place with orange doors and combination locks and security cameras that may or may not actually work. Unit 247 was on the 2nd floor. Corner unit. Small, maybe 5 by 5 feet. The smallest size they rent. I stood in front of that orange door for a full minute, hand hovering over the keypad, because whatever was inside, it was going to change everything. I knew that with the certainty you only get when you're about to cross a threshold you can't uncross. I punched in the code. 0814. My birthday. August 14th. The fact that Tommy had used my birthday as the code, that detail sat in my chest like a stone. It meant he'd been planning this, thinking about it, choosing me specifically to find whatever was inside. The lock clicked. Green light. I grabbed the handle and pulled up. The door rolled open with a metallic screech, and I had to sit down, right there on the concrete floor, legs folded under me, because what I was looking at, my brain couldn't process it. The unit was organized, meticulously organized, like a tiny office, a folding table against the back wall, a camping chair, a plastic storage bin, a cardboard box, a backpack. But it was what was on the table that made my heart stop. A composition notebook, the black and white kind kids use for school, sitting perfectly centered. Next to it, an old cell phone. Not Tommy's regular phone. This one was a flip phone, ancient by today's standards. A manila envelope, bulging with something. And a letter in a sealed envelope, bulging with something. And a letter in a sealed envelope with my name written on the front in Tommy's handwriting. To Grandma Linda. Read this first. My hands shook as I picked it up, tore it open, unfolded 3 pages of lined note of paper, and I started to read my grandson's words. Dear Grandma, if you're reading this, it means I gave you the note. I've been working up the courage for 3 months. I'm sorry it took so long. I'm sorry for a lot of things. You're probably confused and scared and maybe angry at me for being secretive. I'm sorry for that too. But I need you to understand something. I didn't tell you sooner because Mom made me promise not to worry you with adult problems. She doesn't know about the storage unit. Nobody does, except me. And now you. I need to tell you about Derek. I stopped reading, closed my eyes, took 3 deep breaths. Then I kept going. Derek is Mom's boyfriend. You've met him twice. He seems nice, right? That's what everyone thinks. That's what Mom thought too. But he's not nice, Grandma, not when it's just us. He yells. A lot. At Mom mostly, but sometimes at me when I get in the way or make noise or exist too loudly in his presence. He's never hit us. I want to be clear about that because I know that's what people look for. But he punches walls. He throws things. He breaks dishes. He corners Mom in the kitchen and screams in her face until she cries. And Mom, she makes excuses, says he's stressed from work, says she shouldn't have pushed his buttons, says it's not real abuse because he doesn't hit us. But I watch a lot of crime shows. I know how this works. I know how this works. I know it gets worse. I know that the stuff that's not real abuse today becomes the stuff that puts people in hospitals tomorrow. So I started documenting everything. I looked up from the letter, looked at that composition notebook, that old phone, that manila envelope. My 12-year-old grandson had built a case file. I picked up the notebook with trembling hands and opened it. The first page was dated 9 months ago, January 15th. Derek threw a glass at the wall tonight. Mom was crying. She told me to go to my room. I recorded the yelling on my iPad. I flipped through the pages. Hundreds of entries. Dated. Timed. Detailed. March 3rd. Derek punched a hole in the hallway wall. Mom told me he was just frustrated. She spackled it the next day. April 12th. Derek grabbed Mom's arm so hard, it left bruises. I took a picture when she was sleeping. May 8th, Derek screamed at Mom for 20 minutes because dinner was cold. I recorded it. Page after page after page. 9 months of a child documenting his mother's abuse because she wouldn't acknowledge it herself. I picked up the flip phone. Turned it on. It was charged. Recently. I scrolled through the audio files. Dozens of them. I pressed play on one at random. Derek's voice filled the storage unit. Loud. Vicious. Words I won't repeat. The kind of verbal assault that leaves scars you can't see. I turned it off. Opened the manila envelope. Photographs. Printed on regular computer paper. Holes in walls. Shattered picture frames. Rebecca's bruised arm. A broken lamp. Shattered dishes. Evidence. Mountains of it. And at the bottom of the envelope, more letters. Sealed. Dated. Each one addressed to me. I opened the one dated June 1st, 2 weeks before his birthday. Dear Grandma, if you're reading this, something happened and I need you to know the truth. Derek is getting worse. He's drinking more. Last night he told Mom that if she ever left him, he'd make sure she regretted it. I'm not scared for me. I'm scared for Mom. She doesn't see it yet. She thinks love is supposed to hurt sometimes. That relationships are hard work. That if she just tries harder, he'll change. But you'll see it, Grandma. You always see the truth. You're the smartest person I know. I love you. Please help us. Tommy. I sat on that concrete floor and I cried. I don't remember driving to Rebecca's house. 1 minute I was closing that storage unit door, and the next I was pulling into her driveway at 9:47 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. Derek's truck was there. Black Ford F-150. Shiny. Expensive. The kind of truck that screams, I need you to know I'm successful. I didn't care. I walked up to that front door. I still had my key from when I used to watch Tommy after school. And I let myself in. Hello? Rebecca's voice from the kitchen. Mom, is that you? I found her standing at the counter, chopping vegetables for something, trying to look normal. Trying to pretend everything was fine. She was wearing a long-sleeve shirt. In June, in a house with no air conditioning. Where's Tommy? I asked. School. Mom, what's wrong? You look, where's Derek? He's upstairs. Working from home today. Why? What's going on? I pulled out my phone, opened the audio file I'd transferred from Tommy's flip phone, the one from 3 nights ago. The one where Derek screamed at Rebecca for 15 straight minutes because she'd forgotten to buy his favorite beer. I set the phone on the counter, pressed play. Derek's voice filled the kitchen. Venomous. Cruel. The kind of cruelty that's designed to break someone down piece by piece. You're useless. You know that? Completely fucking useless. Can't even remember one simple thing. What do you even do all day? Sit around? Feel sorry for yourself? You're pathetic. Rebecca's voice on the recording, small and broken. I'm sorry, I'll go get it right now. I'm sorry, you're always sorry. Sorry doesn't fix anything. You know what your problem is? You're lazy. Lazy and stupid. The recording went on, and on, and on. I watched my daughter's face drain of color, watched her hand go to her mouth, watched her eyes fill with tears. Where did you get that? She whispered. I tapped my phone, stopped the playback. Your son, I said quietly, has been documenting Derek's abuse for 9 months. He has a storage unit filled with notebooks, recordings, and photographs. He rented it himself, with money from mowing lawns. He's 12 years old, Rebecca. 12. And he's been building a case file because you won't protect yourself. It's not, she started, then stopped. It's not what? Not abuse? Because he doesn't hit you? He doesn't hit you? He doesn't. Yet, I said. He doesn't hit you yet. But he will. You know how I know? Because men like Derek always escalate. Always. The yelling becomes pushing. The pushing becomes shoving. The shoving becomes, "Stop. No, I won't stop. Because your son is terrified. He's documenting everything because he knows this ends badly. He's trying to save you, Rebecca, and you're so deep in denial you can't even see it." She slid down the kitchen cabinet, landed on the floor, started crying. Real crying. The kind that comes from a place so deep you've been holding it in for months. "I thought I could fix him," she sobbed. "I thought if I was better, if I tried harder." I knelt down next to her, pulled her into my arms like I did when she was little. "Baby, you can't fix someone who doesn't think they're broken. Derek doesn't need fixing. He needs to leave. I love him." "No? You love who you thought he was? The man you fell in love with doesn't exist?" That was a mask. This, I gestured to my phone. This is who he really is. We sat there on the kitchen floor, my daughter sobbing in my arms. Both of us jumping when we heard footsteps on the stairs. Derek appeared in the kitchen doorway, tall, handsome, dressed in expensive casual wear. That smile plastered on his face. "Linda, didn't know you were stopping by. Everything okay?" I stood up, slowly, deliberately. "Rebecca needs you to leave." His smile faltered. "Excuse me?" "You heard me. Pack your things. Get out of this house. You're done here." He looked at Rebecca, still on the floor, face red, tears streaming. "Babe, what is this? What's going on?" Rebecca opened her mouth, closed it, looked at me. I pulled up another recording, pressed play. Derek's voice again, this time from last week, threatening to destroy Rebecca's car if she ever disrespected him again. Derek's face changed. The mask slipped. "You recorded me?" "Tommy did," I said calmly. "For 9 months. Every fight, every threat, every hole you've punched in these walls. He has photographs, dated entries, hours of audio, and if you don't leave right now, peacefully, I'm taking all of it to the police. That's illegal. You can't. Try me. My grandson documented you in his own home, in common areas, nothing illegal about that. But your threats, your destruction of property, your verbal abuse, that's all very legal to report." He looked at Rebecca, waiting for her to defend him. She stared at the floor. "Fine," he said, voice cold now, mask completely gone. "This is bullshit. You're both crazy." He went upstairs, came down 20 minutes later with 2 bags, slammed the door so hard a picture fell off the wall. The truck roared to life. Tires squealed, and he was gone. Rebecca and I sat in silence for a long time. Finally, she said, "I need to call my lawyer, file a restraining order, change the locks, call the school and make sure he can't pick up Tommy." I nodded. "I'll help. Whatever you need." "Mom?" "Yeah, baby. How did Tommy know? When did my 12-year-old son become smarter than me?" I pulled out Tommy's letter, the one from the storage unit, handed it to her. She read it, and she cried harder. "I failed him," she whispered. "No, you were surviving. There's a difference. But now? Now we're surviving. There's a difference. But now we fix this. Together." Tommy came home from school at 3:15 p.m. Rebecca had spent the day on the phone. Lawyer, locksmith, police department filing a report and restraining order. Her sister came over, her best friend. We formed a wall of support around her. But when Tommy walked through that door, backpack on his shoulders, the whole house went quiet. He looked at all of us, adults, sitting in his living room. His eyes went to the door, the new lock, then to Rebecca's face, red and swollen from crying, then to me. "Did you check the unit?" he asked, voice small. "I did, baby. Are you mad at me?" I crossed the room in 3 steps and pulled that boy into my arms, held him so tight I probably cracked a rib. "Mad? Tommy, you're the bravest person I've ever met in my entire life." He was stiff at first. Then he crumpled, started crying into my shoulder. "I didn't know what else to do," he sobbed. She wouldn't listen. She kept making excuses. I thought if I had proof, real proof, maybe someone would believe me." Rebecca was crying again. She came over, wrapped her arms around both of us. "I'm so sorry," she whispered to Tommy. "I'm so sorry I made you carry this. I'm so sorry I made you carry this. I'm so sorry you felt like you couldn't tell me. I'm sorry for all of it." "Is he gone?" Tommy asked. "He's gone," she said, "and he's not coming back." We stood there, the 3 of us, in the middle of the living room, holding each other. Later that evening, after Rebecca's sister took Tommy for ice cream to give us some time to talk, Rebecca and I went through everything in the storage unit, together. Every notebook entry, every recording, every photograph. It was worse than I thought. Tommy had documented things I hadn't even seen yet. Times when Derek had tracked Rebecca in their bedroom, yelled at her for hours, made her miss work because she was too upset to function. Times when Tommy had called his own grandmother's house phone at 2 a.m. just to hear my voicemail, to remind himself there were safe people in the world. Times when he'd hidden in his closet, flip phone in hand, recording Derek's rages through his bedroom floor. A 12-year-old child, living in survival mode, for 9 months. He learned about domestic violence documentation from a TV show, Rebecca said, reading one of his early notebook entries. He watched a crime procedural where a woman couldn't prove abuse because she had no evidence, so he decided to gather evidence. He's been protecting you, I said. He's been protecting you, I said. He's been protecting both of us, she corrected. Look at this. She showed me an entry from April. Grandma is coming for Easter dinner tomorrow. Derek is mad because Mom invited her without asking. He said he's going to be on his best behavior, but I know he'll explode after she leaves. I need to make sure Grandma doesn't see it. She has high blood pressure. Stress could hurt her. I have to protect her too. I started crying again. My grandson had been protecting me, while building a case file to save his mother, while maintaining perfect grades in school, while pretending everything was normal at birthday parties. What kind of strength does that take? What kind of courage? We're keeping the storage unit, Rebecca said suddenly. What? We're keeping the storage unit, Rebecca said suddenly. What? We're keeping it. All of this. As evidence. For the restraining order. For court if it comes to that. But also as a reminder. Of what? That my son is braver than I am. And that I need to be worthy of that bravery. That was 8 months ago. A lot has changed since June. Derek violated the restraining order in July. Showed up at Rebecca's work. Started yelling in the parking lot. Security called the police. Tommy's evidence, every recording, every photograph, every meticulously documented entry was used in court. Derek got 6 months in jail. 3 years probation. Permanent restraining order. He's out now. Lives 2 towns over. Hasn't contacted Rebecca once. Rebecca's in therapy. Twice a week, working through why she accepted treatment she never deserved. Learning to recognize red flags, learning to value herself. Tommy's in therapy too. Processing 9 months of living in fight or flight mode, learning that it's not his job to save adults, learning to be a kid again. It's slow. Healing always is. But there are good moments. Last month, Tommy laughed. Really laughed, the kind that filled the whole house. Rebecca cried when she heard it because she'd forgotten what that sounded like. He's wearing short sleeves again. Playing with friends, talking about joining the robotics club at school. The storage unit is still there. Unit 247. We pay the rent every month, $47. A small price for what it represents. Rebecca added something to it last month. Letters of her own. Apologies to Tommy. Promises to do better. A roadmap for their healing journey. I added letters too. Stories about Tommy's grandfather. About strength. About how asking for help is the bravest thing a person can do. That storage unit became our family vault, the place where we stored the darkness so we could move toward the light. Tommy asked me last week why we keep paying for it. We were at my house. He was helping me make cookies, just the 2 of us. Because, I said, it reminds us of what we survived. And who you are. Who am I, Grandma? I stopped mixing the dough. Looked at this remarkable kid who'd saved his mother's life and maybe his own. You're the person who saw danger and didn't run from it. You're the person who protected the people you love even when they couldn't protect themselves. You're the person who had the courage to ask for help when you needed it. That's who you are, Tommy. That's who you'll always be. He was quiet for a minute. Then I was really scared. I know, baby. I thought maybe I was being dramatic. Like maybe it wasn't that bad. Maybe it wasn't that bad. Maybe I was overreacting. You weren't. You saw the truth, and you acted on it. That's not dramatic. That's survival. Mom says she's proud of me, but sometimes I see her looking at me like she's sad. She's sad that you had to grow up so fast. She's sad that you had to be the adult when she couldn't be. but she's also incredibly proud. We both are. He went back to cutting cookie shapes, then said something that broke my heart and healed it at the same time. I'd do it again. If I had to, I'd protect her again. And you. Because that's what family does. 12 years old. No, not anymore. 13 now. Had his birthday last month. We didn't have a party this time. Just the three of us. Dinner at his favorite restaurant. A new bike. A journal I gave him with a note inside, for your thoughts. Not evidence, not documentation, just you, who you are when you're not protecting everyone else. Love, Grandma. He carries it everywhere now. Writes in it before bed. I don't know what he writes, and I don't ask, because he's earned his privacy, his secrets, his own internal world that doesn't have to be shared for survival. He's earned the right to just be a kid, so here's what I need you to hear. Really hear. If you're a kid watching this, and I know some of you are, and something feels wrong at home, you're not crazy. You're not dramatic. You're not overreacting. Trust that feeling in your gut. You are not responsible for fixing adults. You are not responsible for managing their emotions. You're not responsible for keeping the peace, but you are allowed to protect yourself. Tell someone, a teacher, a coach, a friend's parent, a grandparent, anyone who will listen. Document if you can. Write down dates, times, what happened, not because you're trying to hurt anyone, but because the truth matters. Because evidence protects you when memories get blurry. And know this, asking for help is not betrayal. It's survival. It's strength. It's courage. If you're a parent in a situation like Rebecca's, your kids see more than you think. They're carrying weight you didn't mean to give them. They're carrying weight you didn't mean to give them. They're counting exit routes. They're learning to read moods. They're sacrificing their childhood to manage your crisis. It's not too late to choose differently. To choose them. To choose yourself. Love shouldn't hurt. Relationships shouldn't require you to shrink. And your children shouldn't have to become investigators in their own homes. If you're a grandparent, aunt, uncle, teacher, neighbor, pay attention. The quiet kid, the long sleeves in summer, the forced smiles, the flinching, the apologies for existing. These are not phases. These are survival mechanisms. Don't ignore your instincts. Don't convince yourself it's none of your business. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is ask, are you okay? Really okay? And then listen. Really listen. Storage Unit 247 still exists. We pay the rent every month. It's our reminder that secrets kept for survival aren't shameful. That children are stronger and smarter and braver than we give them credit for. That documentation can be the difference between being believed and being dismissed. That families can heal, even from the worst betrayals, even from the deepest pain. And that sometimes the smallest hands hold the biggest courage. Tommy's okay now. He's more than okay. He's thriving. Rebecca's okay. She's rebuilding. She's stronger. We're all okay. And we're never going back. If this story moved you, please share it. Someone in your life needs to hear it. Someone is living in that storage unit right now, metaphorically or literally, gathering evidence, building courage, trying to survive. Let them know they're not alone. Hit that subscribe button. Join this community of people who believe in protecting the vulnerable and honoring the brave. And tell me in the comments, have you ever had to be brave for someone else? Or has someone been brave for you? Your stories matter. Your courage matters. Thank you for listening to ours. This is Linda, Tommy's grandma,